Right. I hope we are audible to the audience. People who are joining virtually, are we audible now? Hope it's all right.
Yes, sir, you audible to you.
Okay, cool. So dealing with this consolidation, we need to focus about the code as well, right? First, we'll start this syllabus 9. I'm not going to finish this, right? Syllabus 9 because it's too much. If I'm going to finish today's syllabus 9, it will be very boring to you all because it's been complicated. So the syllabus content may be very lengthy, right? Financial asset, financial liability, not only that, derivatives, right? And hedge accounting, and then this related disclosures. So I'm not going to finish that. Today, I'm going to start with you all these financial instruments. I want to give a heads up, and then throughout this journey, we'll finish it off this financial instrument because it's very important subject. Wherever you go, you have to deal with financial instrument. So whatever this agricultural, government grants, or else LKS 21, or else segmental reporting, sometimes you may not use earning per share, right? But financial instrument, you have hands-on experience. You should know that, right? Biological asset, government grants, deal but currently you are dealing with financial instrument. You are using cash, right? It's a financial asset. You are using sometimes maybe saving account, debit card, right? FD, all are financial instrument. You are purchasing shares, the financial instrument, right? So you are dealing with financial instrument now. Then you know what it is. Here we are going to identify these things and how we are going to account it, how we are going to disclose it, right? Not only as an individual, but also we are planning as an organization. How we are going to deal with these financial instruments, right? Is that an important topic for you? Yes. Wherever you go, whatever the position you are heading, financial instruments should be mentioned as a student who are reading for accounting degree. What an excuse එකක් නැහැ. Financial instrument දන්නේ නැහැ කියන්නේ. මම අහලා නැහැ, මම දන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. හරිනේ? Are you ready? 60% මේ ලෝකෙ නෙමෙයි බලන් ඉන්නවා, සර් පේනවා. ඇහෙනවා මොන හරි කියනවා. පුත් ඔලුවට යන්නේ. තාම ලින්ක් වෙලා නැහැ. ඔයාගේ සයිට් එකයි ඔයාගේ hearing input එකයි ඔයාගේ intellectual එක කියන්නේ එයා නිදි. එයා නිද්‍රාවට පත් වෙලා තියෙන කෑමත් එක්කම අක්සන්. ඔයා කියන කෙනා නිදි. හැබැයි ඇහෙනවා, පේනවා. ලින්ක් එක නැහැ තාම. ලින්ක් එක ඔයා question කරලා බලන්න ලින්ක් එක තියෙද කියලා. ඒක තමයි important. Attendance නෙමෙයි. That's called concentration. Your eyesight should link with your maybe brain, maybe your what you call that concentration. මේක ටිකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද ඒකද කියන්නේ? නිවැරදි සිහියෙන් ඉන්නවා. නේද? සම්මා සතිය තියෙන. right? ඒක තියෙනවා නම් හොඳට ස්ටඩි කරන්න පුළුවන්, learn කරන්න. For consolidation and financial instrument, you have to keep focus. Means you need to maintain that concentration. Anyhow, maybe for 80%, right? Not 100%. 100% may be the exceptional situation. If you can concentrate 100%, it may be exceptional. 80%, 75%, you should maintain. Or 50 within now the consolidation or mono miss that. The tuta miss no console no miss. The other miss in a country, degree the miss karagan. Console miss no miss now. I forgetting what I've done that. Right? So quickly go to the financial instrument and then we'll jump into consolidation. Right? Okay. Financial instruments, right? Syllabus 9, syllabus 7, 32, 39, right? These are the standards we are going to refer. Okay. So then, why we are having several standards for financial instruments? So once we are dealing with the biological asset PP&E, only one standard. PP&E against 60. Inventory
Hello,
one
sir.
standard, right?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Can you share the screen? We cannot visible it.
Something to write. Then okay.
Yes, sir. Now okay, we can. Thank you, sir.
Right. So syllabus 9 deal with financial instrument. Basically, a disclosure related aspect. Syllabus 7, case 32. That's about presentation. The case 39 recognition. Now we are not using this 39. So 39 must reflect this syllabus 9. 39 standard financial instrument recognition replaces syllabus 9. Furthermore, we are not using 39. We are using 32, 7 and 9. Right. So we have this content in the right. So I have that classification. I will give that standard classification. I uploaded that on the second slide. I added another slide to here. It is not taken here, so I will share that updated slide. Then you have that classification. What's the standard? What's the purpose? So basic expectation about different standard. mentioned there, right? So without going through this technical content, simply we need to get this SLFRS 9. That's the expectation, right? So your concentration is really important. As I mentioned, step by step we'll learn this, right? First we'll understand what's the financial instrument is. Is that asset? Is that a liability? What's a financial instrument? Financial instrument can be classified into two parts. What is that? Financial instrument can be classified into two parts. What are they? Financial asset, financial asset, and financial liability. Financial asset and financial liability. Financial asset and financial liability. Financial asset, financial liability in an economy. What are the financial assets? What are the financial liabilities? Financial asset plus financial liability. Financial asset is asset, right? It's asset. Normal asset definition, right? As a result of past event, today we are controlling a resource which having future economic benefit. That future economic benefit can be measured reliably, right? So that future economic benefit should be controlled by the entity. That's very important part. So that same principle applied to this asset category. So we have adjective here. Financial asset. It is not a biological asset, right? Biological asset means it's a living animal or plant, right? But here financial asset. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Financial asset. It is asset which create a right to receive cash or similar instrument type of a asset. It's a right to receive cash or similar asset. Similar nature asset. It's a right we are having to receive cash or similar asset. So here we have FD today, fixed asset. Sorry, fixed deposit. Fixed deposit is there. Fixed deposit, can you see a big asset? Fixed deposit maybe 10 million. 10 million fixed deposit. Can you see a 10 million asset here? There's a certificate, right? It is a right to receive cash, right? The right to receive cash. It's a financial instrument. It's an instrument. Sometimes there's a doubt that is that an intangible asset? In case 38, right? You have done it. 38 karane. So it's the financial reporting subject karane. So we learned about LKS 38, right? It is a asset which doesn't have physical substance. It's an intangible asset. So you have a confusion that this is an intangible asset. Intangible asset. Tangible they are intangible asset can be but intangible asset standard data clearly scope out. Intangible asset defined converter. The financial asset is not a intangible asset. Right? Here we don't have a physical substance. Agree? What if you can't touch it, right? What if you touch the certificate? There's no such a physical asset to see. So it's a type of intangible asset, but intangible asset standard LKS 38 scope out this nature of financial instrument, right? Here we have an asset. It is a right to receive cash or similar asset, right? So what are the examples of financial asset then? What are the examples? What are the examples? Give me maybe 10 examples of financial assets. I don't know, in grade 2, maybe teacher asking about you, give me animals having 4 legs. What list එකක් කියන්න පුළුවන්නේ? කකුල් 4 list එකක් කියන්න. එවනේ. ඒ වගේ මම අහනවා financial asset list එකක් කියන්න කියලා. කියන්න පුළුවන් එකේ. දැන් මට ටිකට කලින් කිව්වා. Tell me one financial asset. financial asset එක මතක් කරමු කියන්නේ. මතක් කරනවද? Treasury bills. Shares. Correct. Treasury bills, shares. What else? Online ඉන්න කට්ටියට කියන්න පුළුවන්. Examples. GPT ගහලා බලලා කියන්න එපා. ඉතින් නිකන් මතක් කරලා කියන්න. ඉතර එෆර්ට් එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. assignment එකක් ගේන්න හදුවට කවන්නේ නැහැ. මේක එහෙම කරන්නේ. නිකන් අහන්න just treasury bill, treasury bond, හරි. FD, savings, shares, finance. Yes, loans. Borrowings and loans is a financial asset to one party, right? Financial liability to other party, right? Loans. Debenture investments. Yes. What else? Trade receivables. Very good. Trade receivables also a financial asset. Yes. Trade receivable, debtors, financial asset. Cash is also financial asset. Cash is a very unique financial asset. Fine. All these financial instruments nature is financial instrument. The holding party is asset to that holding party. There's another party having a similar liability. That's the nature of financial instrument. Then again, may PPA is holding by SAB. It's asset to SAB. Is there any party who are having a liability relating to this? No. That's SAB එක මේක ගන්නකොට pay කරලා නැත්නම් liability එකක් තියෙනවා. But I think that they have trade, right? So this is asset, they are having that, but there's no such a liability with another party. But financial instrument, nature is one party having, the party who are holding that asset is having asset on their books, but some other party having similar liability. FDA one and FDA that is asset for you, right? How about the other party? Bank. Bank is a liability. It's a financial liability to them. How about the trade debtors? Trade debtor for you is asset. Other party trade creditors, right? Treasury bill, bond for you is asset. To the government, it's a liability. But financial asset, cash is a financial asset. Cash is a financial asset, but there's no such a party who are having a liability. That is the uniqueness of financial asset. Are you getting me? Financial asset is a cash is a financial asset, but we don't have a party who are having a liability, similar liability. What we are pulling cash in hand, well, central bank cash issue කරපු එකේ liability side එකේ total issued cash තියෙනවා කියලා. එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. So the cash is a financial asset. It is not representing any liability with other party, right? All other financial assets clearly representing a liability with other parties, right? Are you okay? Right. Yes. Financial instrument, financial asset and financial liabilities. Financial asset. Now we know a list of financial assets, right? List of financial assets. What are they? Treasury bill, treasury bond, right? Shares, and then savings, FD, and commercial papers, debentures, loan, and what else? Current accounts and money market loans, repo, reverse repo, different set of assets. හැබැයි මේ ලිස්ට් එකේ එක කැටගරි එකක් කියවමු. Financial assets based on the type we can divide it into 3 categories. What are they? Financial assets can be divided into 3 categories. What are they? Debt instrument, debt instrument, debt instrument, debt to equity instrument. Yes, might go out of there. Have what can every singers la Sindhu Kiarin deal, might go better. What can deal then? What are in the Bava than a gun? Singers done that can the man. Versity kill antimu versity can the what then on equity here. Debt to equity. Equity. Third one. Debt equity. Third one, what is that? Take that net. Take a mic then net. Debt equity and debt equity and Yalato Tomo. Near one Saturday you. Again, what they are done now. Debt equity and derivatives. Debt equity derivatives, right? Derivatives. Derivatives, right? Derivatives, right? Debt, equity, and derivatives. Once you are giving these examples, we have not given any examples of derivatives, right? You have given set of financial assets here, but we can classify this, right? After we have the run to go again. Right? There's no any example for this bucket. This is empty. What is this bucket? What are the things we can put in? What are the things? Forward contract. Forward contract. And then options. Options. That. Right. So these are the examples. We'll add some more, right? So you can add these things to this list. Then and there you need to understand financial asset having 3 categories: debt instrument, equity instrument, and derivatives. Right? Right. Then we are learning financial asset first. Right? Financial asset first. What we are going to learn now? So what are the financial assets? And then now we know what it is. Now we are going to understand how we are going to swap. It may be, it is an instrument we are using for maybe interest rate swap, right? Money, different swap agreements are there. We are going to swap. Swap means to mitigate the risk. We are enter into a contract to exchange something, right? It's a swap agreement. So once you are having this swap agreement, right? Swap agreement, you can mitigate some of the foreign currency risk, some of other risks, right? What other මොනවද crude oil ගන්න හදන crude oil ගන්න swap agreement එකකට යනවා මොන හරි තව දෙනවා එකට crude oil දෙනවා so swap agreement right to mitigate the foreign currency risk so swap right options mean yes you have an option it may be call option or put option call option or put option. Call option means buy, to buy. Put means to sell. It's option, right? You are having a financial asset. It is having option. Option means if market value going maybe more than 100, you can execute that option. So we'll study that, right? What's happening behind. Forward contract, what do you mean by that? Forward contract. Today you are registering for SEMA, right? SCA. You're supposed to pay in pounds, right? Maybe in dollars, right? So today you can see that with the economic crisis, your dollar value getting appreciated, your rupee value getting depreciated. In that situation, what you are going to do? You have a risk. What is that risk? Foreign currency risk. Foreign currency risk you are expecting some exchange rate. It may be vary. Deviation from expectation we call as always a risk, right? Because of that foreign currency risk, you need to mitigate that risk. To mitigate that risk, what you have to do? You have to enter to a forward contract agreement, right? So what is the rate you are going to use? At which time you are going to enter? All these things should be learned under which subject? Finance management. FM subject එකේ තියෙනේම තමයි. ඒක කොහොමද අපි වෙන කරන්නේ? අපිට P වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Purchasing power parity වෙන්න. Right? And then interest rate parity වෙන්න පුළුවන්. IRP වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. ආයේ parity එක දාලා බලනවා. Forward rate එක මොකක්ද කියලා. What is the forward rate you are going to get? So purchasing power parity, interest rate, what's that is hedging? What's that is hedging? Not hedging, right? Hedging, forward contract also can be considered as a hedging, right? Hedging is a method, right? Hedging, hedge accounting, right? Hedging, hedge accounting. Hedging mean in other words, mitigating the risk. In other words, hedging. Whatever these all options can be used for hedging. Hedging can මොකද්ද? ඔයා risk එක mitigate කරනවට කියනවා hedge කරනවා. තව risk එකක් එක්ක set off කරගන්න. That's called hedging, right? So if you want to do hedge accounting, you need to satisfy what? යන්නේ standard එකේ අන්තිම කොටට යන්නේ ඔයා දැන් බය වෙලා කලන්ත දායිද නැහැ නම. You need to satisfy with hedge effectiveness, right? If you want to do hedge accounting, you need to satisfy hedge effectiveness. If you want to satisfy hedge effectiveness, you need to consider about your hedge item and the hedge instrument, right? You need to identify hedge item and the hedge instrument. What you are going to hedge? What is the other asset you are going to use that? Here you are having a risk. Because of that risk, you have purchased some other thing. So there should be a similarity. Otherwise, you can't hedge. Right? Are you getting me? You have a risk. You have a risk of paying in pounds in another three months time. If it is so, you want what? Foreign currency. You want foreign currency, right? You want foreign currency. For that, today you are going to purchase something. You are going to hedge something. You are going to purchase some other dollars, right? That dollar should be set off with this whatever dollars, maybe $1,000 on. Today you are going to purchase $1,000 and you are putting in a FD, right? After 3 months, you can use this purchase dollars for that payment, that liability. For that liability, that risk was hedged by using a different asset. Once you are hedging, hedge effectiveness should be there. After 1,000 note now, after 1,000 other change, no, are getting 100. Is that matching? Hedge ratio is matched? No, you can't hedge that. Your hedge instrument should tally with the hedge item, right? Wow. Make a hedge කරන්න bike එකක් කරන් තියන. Not relates. Your hedge effectiveness fail maybe, right? We'll discuss in detail what is hedging, how you can maintain hedge effectiveness criteria, right? All these things will be discussed very practically. Okay. So before that, we have a lot to discuss. Right? I just touch upon that hedge accounting. So we are having two hedge accounting: fair value hedge and cash flow hedge. Your cash flow may not be received. For that, we need to hedge. That's called cash flow hedge. Right? What is a cash flow? Cash flow. Because of that, you are hedging. That is called cash flow hedge. Your fair value may change. That's also risk. For that, you are hedging. It is called fair value hedge. Right? You are having two separate hedges. I just gave some words. Don't get afraid about that. Again, we are coming to the grade 2 financial instrument. FD savings done no, or FD done no, savings done no, current account done no. You know what it is, right? Cash done no, right? So we are dealing with these things now. Shares done no, right? Okay. Once you are having this set of financial assets, today we are going to discuss how we are going to recognize, how we are going to measure, how we are going to disclose, how we are going to measure and disclose. And then once you are discussing about measurements, you need to identify reclassification, remeasurement. All these things should be started. So that is the task we are going to do now. Okay. The recognition is easy. Recognition, asset recognition criteria, similar asset recognition criteria, plus there should be a right to receive cash. Then and there you can identify that as a financial asset. Then you can recognize that as a financial asset. Right? So then the second question, what is that? Recognition. Recognition will be two. What is that? Initial recognition and what is that? Subsequent measurement. Initial measurement, initial recognition and subsequent measurement. Right? Initially, how we are going to recognize it. Subsequently, how we are going to recognize it. What do you mean by that? PPE එකේම තියනවද? PPE එකේම කතා කරාද? Initially recognize whatever the PPE. Initially recognize at cost. Subsequently recognition has been divided into two. What is that? Cost method and the fair value revaluation method, right? Subsequent measure. PPN එකේ කියන්නේ revaluation එකටම recognize කරනවා කියලා නේද? Initially recognize to the cost, subsequently measured in revaluation and the cost method. But here we are discussing financial instrument, financial asset like this. How we are going to recognize? How we are going to recognize? How we are going to initially recognize and subsequently recognize? Okay. ඒක තමයි අපි discuss කරන්නේ. Okay. Right. Once you are doing this recognition, once you are doing this measurement, according to the recognition and the measurement, we are dividing financial asset into another 3 categories. That depends on the measurement method. Right? Measurement method is types. Here, the nature. Debt instrument, equity instrument, and derivatives. By the nature, we classify. Right? Then we are going to classify based on the recognition base. Right? Recognition base. Okay. We have debt instrument, equity instrument, and derivatives. Now we are going to classify this. Now we are going to recognize this. The recognition part is the difficult part. Your support, your attention should be there for this. The recognition, right? ඒක තමයි exam එකේ test කරන්නේ. Recognition focus කරන්න ඕනත් මේ part එකට තමයි. ඉතින් අපිට මේක අමාරු වෙනවද? ඇයි එහෙම අමාරු වෙන්නේ? Right. To recognize, to measure this, right? First, we need to do a test. First, we need to do a test about this financial asset. We need to test first what is the nature of this financial asset. What is the test? So we need to evaluate. This is complex now. By nature, we can't identify. So we can see that, but we have to perform a test to recognize. Recognize කරනවා මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? Recognize කරනවා. First time the class again. That's the game. Telugu name is lecture series එක ඉවර වෙනකොට කට්ටියම දැන්ටද තියෙන්න ඕන. මතක තියෙන්න. කොහේදී හරි කොහොම හරි දැක්කොත් දැන් පුරුදු ළමයි ඉන්නවා. ඒ වුණාට අර එක දවසක් හරි ආව කියලා හිතන නැති ළමයි තමයි මකන්නේ. lecture series එක ඉවර වෙනකොට හොඳටම මතක තියෙන්නේ. නම නම් මතක නැති වෙයි. අවදා හරි කොහේදී හරි හම්බුනොත් සර් කියලා කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක මතකයි. අමාරුද කැම්පස් එක වටලා වෙනවා. කැම්පස් එකේ යපුරේද, ගැලලියද, කොළඹද, මෙහෙද ඒවා මතක වෙයි සමහරවිට. නැත්නම් මතකයි. permanent memory එකට save කරගන්න ඕන. ඔයාගේ presentation physically ම ගන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් save වෙනවා. We try to get presentation physically, right? Want to see that, right? We'll make it. Okay, so we'll come to the topic. Here we are discussing how we are going to recognize, measure this financial asset. To measure, recognize, what we need to do. In an interview, what we are going to do? To recognize, to measure whether we are going to recruit that person or not, how we are going to do that. We need, sometimes we are doing a test, right? Entrance test එකක් තියෙනවා. මේකෙන් බලන්න මොකද්ද? මේකේ features හරියට තියෙනවද? තේරුමක් තියෙනවද මේ ළමයට? මේ ළමයා දන්නවද මේ subject එක? To validate that, we are performing a test, right? So financial instrument, financial asset also we are having a two tests, right? First test, what is that? First test we call as SPPI test. SPPI test. Then equity කරගන්න. Sorry. They ask you what? Okay, that. You can delete කරලා shares කියලා ලියාගත්තොත් දන්නේ නැහැ equity. For equity, we are having only example shares, right? Shares and sometimes combined facilities, type of maybe convertible debentures. So there's the equity portion. Once you are having convertible debentures, right? Compound instruments. Compound instruments. All basically shares we call as equity. Debt, we are having many instruments. All other instruments. Maybe FD, savings, commercial papers, debentures, T-bill, T-bonds, loans, right? Lease, all the things we call as debt instruments. Right? Debt, equity, derivatives. Right? දැන් මේ list එක ඔයාලට ලියා ගන්න පුළුවන් නේද examples. Examples equal all the instruments ඔයාලට ලියා ගන්න පුළුවන් මෙතෙන්ද. මොනවද? T-bill, T-bond, loans, borrowings, and lease. Lease, then debentures and commercial papers. All the things we call as FD, savings, current accounts, all are debt. Debt, right? And then equity, example shares. Shares. Derivatives, forward contracts, options, that. Futures. Futures. Forward contracts, options, swaps, futures. Futures is a financial instrument. We don't have that experience in Sri Lankan context. Futures, right? Right. So these are the examples. Now we have a set of financial instruments here, financial assets here. Now we are going to perform two tests for these financial instruments. First test, SPPI test. Already tested SPPI test. We call as cash flow characteristic test. In other words, cash flow characteristic test of the current. So this test, SPPI means toll payment BPI. Toll payment of principal and interest. Right? SPPI test. Toll payment of principal and interest. SPPI test. Simply the cash flow characteristic test. So we are checking cash flow characteristics. features of the cash flows, right? We have to perform this test to the instrumental level. Keep remember that. Very important. This test should be performed to the instrumental level. Instrumental level. සමහර ටෙස්ට් ඉන්ස්ට්‍රුමන්ටල් ලෙවල් එකට කරනවා සමහර ටෙස්ට් ගෲප් එකට කරනවා නේ. දැන් ඔයාලගේ ඩිග්‍රී එකේ group activities තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? group එකටම නේ ලකුණු දෙන්නේ නේ. අර නිකන් ඉඳගෙන කොට යන්න පුළුවන් group activity එකෙන් නේ. group එකටම තමයි. That group will be evaluated as a group, not an individual student level, right? Individual performance won't be evaluated, right? Not aggregate level. It's the instrumental level. So you have to perform SPPI test to the each and every instrument, right? Instrumental level we need to perform. Okay. So there's another test. What is that? Second test. What is that? Business model test. Business model test. Right? Business model test and the cash flow characteristic test. We have to perform once you are measuring, once you are classifying, once you are recognizing financial assets. Are you okay? Test business model test. Right? This test should be done to the aggregate level. Aggregate level. This test should be done to the aggregate level. This test should be done to instrumental level. You may remember. Right? Two tests. අනිත් මාසෙ තියාගන්න ඕනේ දේ තමයි ඉපත්. මේ ටෙස්ට් එක ෆේල් නම් මේ ටෙස්ට් එක ෆේල් නම් මේක කරන්නේ ඔය ලෙවල් ෆේල් නම් ඇඩ්වාන්ස් ලෙවල් කරන්නාම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. පළවෙනි ටෙස්ට් එක පාස් නම් තමයි ඊළඟ ටෙස්ට් එකට යන්න. You have to pass the cash flow characteristic test. Then and there you have to do the business model test. Okay? If you fail this, you can't go to business model test. But you don't know what you are going to test here. You just know financial instrument having two parts: financial asset, financial liabilities. Financial liabilities having three parts by nature. Three parts by nature. What are they? Debt, equity, and derivatives. Right? For these debt, equity, and derivatives, we list down. We categorize, right? And these things we need to recognize, we need to measure. To that, we need to test this. Without testing, we can't measure, right? Other asset, PP&E, no need to test. We can see that, right? No need to do separate testing. Here, we need to test because it's complicated. Because of that, we have to test. PPI test and business model test. SPPI test. Now we are going to test. Now we are going to learn under SPPI test what we supposed to check. Can you do that? Under SPPI test, how we are going to do that? Cash flow characteristic test. By using this SPPI test, what we are going to do that? We need to test whether we can determine future cash flows. Can you determine future cash flows? Can you determine future cash flows mean? Future cash flows will be dependent on what? Once you are having a financial instrument, future cash flows of that financial instrument will be determined. Will be dependent on what? Be dependent on the capital and the interest. The capital payment and the interest payment of that financial asset can be determined today to determine the future cash flows. Can you determine this capital and interest, future interest of these balances? If it is so, that test will be passed. That's the question we are asking here. Once we are evaluating this, once we are doing this test at the instrumental level, what we are going to test? Can you determine future cash flows? Is there any determinable future cash flows? In other words, can you predict the future capital when you are receiving the future capital, when you are getting the interest? Can you determine today? Based on that, can you categorize these things? මේ simple words වලින් මොකද්ද කියන්නේ? අපි අද investment එකක් කරනවා. ඒකෙන් investment එකකින් return කීයක් කොහොමද expect කරනවද? investment එකක් කරනකොට expect කරන expectation කීයක් තියෙනවද? දෙකක් තියෙනවා. You need to have a return, the interest, right? And then other thing, critical thing, security for the capital. Capital එකයි ගන්න ඕන. So those are the two things, right? Capital එක ගන්නකොට වට premium එකක් වැඩි වෙලා හම්බ වෙනවද? Capital appreciation එකක් තියෙනවද කියලා තමයි worry වෙන්නේ. Right? It is not the earning. Right? It is not the earning. Right? So those are the two things. Once you are investing in this type of financial instrument, can we determine when you are getting the capital? What is the amount you are getting as interest today? How about this financial instrument? What make up පුළුවන්? How about shares? How about shares? You are purchasing some shares today, listed company. You are investing capital. You are expecting what? Interest? No, dividend. Can you determine that dividend pay? Can you determine that dividend pay? Can't, right? That depends on the respective company dividend policy. We don't know whether, you may know that, whether they are using zero dividend policy, the multiple growth dividend policy. Different dividend policies are there. That is called dividend theory is there, right? Based on the dividend theory, they actually decide the dividend payment method, right? Dividend, according to the dividend payment method, your dividend may be vary. Because of that, today you can't determine the future cash flows of shares. That's obvious, right? What is sure nahi invest karne capital le kahan ko vede kya? Why? Your share price will be vary, right? Your share price will be drop. Because of that, you can't determine future cash flows of shares. It means your cash flow test of shares will fail. So shares for the cash flow characteristic test එක අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? Answer එක fail. Are you okay? හොඳට අහගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. This is very critical. This is the heart of Paris 9 cash flow characteristic test, right? Here now the table. Shares for the cash flow characteristic test එක fail කියලා කිව්වේ. Why? We can't determine future cash flows. Today we can't determine, right? Then derivatives also fail. Derivatives should fail. Hey, derivatives should fail again. What do you mean by a derivative definition? Derivative is a financial asset. What is the definition? Today we are entering into a contract. Today we are entering into a contract. A little cost or zero cost. Little cost or zero cost. Right? With the expectation of settling a liability or maybe purchasing asset. Right? So that value will be determined based on a underlying asset, underlying item, underlying some item, right? That is called a derivative. Derivative එකක් කියන්නේ මේ වගේ දෙයක්. Today we are entering into a contract without the cost or very little cost, right? To settle a liability to purchase an asset, right? That value will be determined by a different factor. That is called a derivative. So derivative තාම දන්නේ නැහැ නේ example එකක් මොකක්ද කියලා. අපි කිව්වා මොකක්ද? Forward contract එක derivative එකක් කියලා. Forward contract එක derivative එකක්. ඒ derivative එකක් කියන්නේ. Forward contract is a derivative, right? Forward contract is a derivative. Today we are entering into a contract. Today we are entering into a contract, maybe very little cost, right? That contract to settle a liability. That value we don't know. That value will be decided based on what? Based on the exchange rate. Based on the exchange rate, the value will be decided. Forward contract, right? The underlying factor is there. Based on the exchange rate, based on the share price, based on the price index, there may be different factors. Based on the crude oil price, different factor will be linked to this. Today we are entering to a contract to purchase asset or settle a liability. That value will be decided based on some other factor. Because of that, this factor, this third party factor, the underlying factor will be changed, right? That underlying factor will be changed accordingly. Can you determine the future cash flows? That underlying factor always changing. The share price, inflation, or maybe share index, or maybe some fuel prices. Based on that underlying factor, your contract value will be changed. We'll discuss what's the nature of this, right? In detail, we'll discuss. So you need to understand. You need to understand. Directly, you can say that once you are investing, once you are doing, once you are having this derivative, today you can't determine the future cash flows, right? Today you can't determine the future cash flows. It means SPPI test fails for derivatives. SPPI test fail for derivatives. So it's a norm, it's a fact. Derivative shares cash flow test fail. SPPI test fail. What fail power then again? What fail power then again? Why කරන්න ඕනද දන්නවද? වා fail බව දන්නවනම් වා corporate reporting කරන්න ඕනද? කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. දන්නවනම් කරන්න එපා. එහෙනම් මොනවා හරි doubt එකක් probability එකක් තියෙනවා නම් තමයි කරන්න. right? එහෙනම් අපිට statement එකක් කියන්න පුළුවන්. Once you are recognizing, once you are measuring financial asset, you no need to perform first test SPPI test for equity instruments and derivatives. You have to perform SPPI test for only for debt instruments. Only for debt instruments. Why? Other equity and derivatives, obviously SPPI test fail by the nature. Then you can put a definition that SPPI test should be performed only for the debt instrument. We know that these two instruments are fail answer. If it is so, this test also no need to be performed. So the main test එක මේකට කරන්න ඕනත් නැහැ. So the හරි ලේසි නේ. මේ දෙකම test එක කරන්න. Then SPPI test and the business model test only we are performing for debt instruments. Debt instruments. Okay, debt instruments. We are performing for debt instruments. Right? SPPI test and business model test. HDBA test. Answer pass. Answer fail. Right? Answer pass it test. Thus, model test. Business model test. Right? I think after short notes on notes then other notes then a short note I'm attached to the short note balance full. Short note take goes the question of the slide they got there. Right? Or a note take good on a note take good then. Then SPP and this figure. One of the SPP and this view or that's like a gun. Make a balance. Cash flow determined can be determined future cash flows. Right? So that's the test. Can we predict the future cash flows? It means when you can get the capital and interest. What then become matak when instrument when pass way FDA. Are you getting me? FDA what at the end? FDA settle the capital what can pull with the maturity. After 2 years, after 5 years, right? Your capital will receive. And in between that period, maybe at the month end, you receiving the interest. Right? You can determine the future cash flow when you are getting the interest, when you are getting the capital. Today you can determine. So that is the test you are performing here. SPPI test. Can't have the answer. What you mean by SPPI test? What had to be interest and what when and the bank you interest you should know that what's the interest and what's the capital, right? Okay. The people who are in the class will know that now, right? SPP and SP, the test we are performing to debt instrument only to check to determine the future cash flows. Right? Once you are evaluating that question, you are asking, can we determine? Can't. If it is so fail. Can yes pass. Then you are doing the second test. You are doing the second test not to the instrumental level, but to the aggregate level. Aggregate level means to the overall class. You are doing that test. To the group of assets. To the instrumental, right? You are having 15 debentures. You are doing that test for 15 debentures, not only one debenture, right? You are doing that test for maybe 20 FDs. You are doing that test for 20 FDs. 20 FDs means aggregate level to overall batch, to overall group you are evaluating. Once you are evaluating business model, keep your focus. Once you are evaluating business model, you are focusing about 3 aspects. Once you are evaluating the business nature, business model, you are evaluating the expectation of this instrument, right? By evaluating that, you may classify it into 3 buckets, 3 classes, right? the nature of the organization, expectation of the management, that asset class you are holding till the maturity, hold to collect, hold and sell, and sell. The other three ranges: hold to collect, hold and sell, the hybrid type of expectation. If not, sell. We are keeping this for overall set of instruments. We are keeping for selling purpose, according to the business model, according to the nature of the expectation, according to the expectation of the management. We are keeping this investment for selling purpose, right? Selling, hold to sell, hold to collect, right? Hold to collect, means you are holding this financial instrument till the maturity to get the money. You are holding that till the maturity. Right? Now, sell FD එකක් sell කරන්න පුළුවන්. වාගේ FD එක දෙනවානේ යාළුවට විකුණන්න පුළුවන්. FD එක sell කරන්න. By nature it's a financial debt instrument, cash flow characteristic test pass, business model test, hold to collect, say FD. Right? Hold and sell. Hold and sell. What do you mean by that? Two expectations. Make sell. Other hamuna, other people. Other price rate hamuna, other people. Maybe treasury bills. Correct. Treasury bonds also. Bonds. Right? Method and treasury bonds. Treasury bond vendor. Why? In one other organization. So, organizational perspective, right? You are holding treasury bond for selling purpose. If it is so, it's selling purpose. But here, you are purchasing a treasury bond. Treasury bond is 8 million, right? 8 million. Today, you have 8 million cash. You have cash. But you want this cash, not today. Within another 3 years' time, you are planning to start some business. Another 3 years down the line, you want cash 8 million. Now you are going to invest that today. You are investing in a 5-year bond. You are investing in a 5-year bond. Are you getting me? Today you have 8 million cash. Within another 3 years, you want to use this cash for your personal investment. But you are searching an investment for this 3-year period. Are you getting me? So you are investing today in a treasury bond, the maturity period 5 years. Maturity period 5 years, right? It means hold and sell. Hold it till 3 years, right? 3 years you know, 3 years. 2 years. After 3 years, you are planning to sell. It means hold and sell. Right? There are some instruments like that. There are some organizations like that. The expectation, according to the business model, according to the business expectation and the plan, they are holding till some period and they are going to sell it. Not a selling purpose today, not a holding purpose till the maturity. The mixed type, hybrid type, right? Hold and sell. Right? Hold and sell. Or else selling. Purely selling. If any chance, selling it out. So you need to evaluate that business model. You need to discuss with the management expectations, evaluate this thing and categorize. Okay, right. If you are deciding this, then you are deciding the measurement method. Then you are deciding measurement method, right? If it is hold to collect, Normally you are using, generally you are using, but generally you are using amortized cost. Amortized cost. Right? Generally, මම just use කරන්නේ මේකෙදී ගුණත් amortized cost use නොකරන අවස්ථාවක් එන්නත් පුළුවන්. You are using fair value method, right? Here, fair value through OCI. Fair value through OCI. Right? Here, fair value through P&L. Right? Fair value through P&L. Fair value through P&L. මේක අමතක කළා මේ විදිහට අපිට financial asset measure කරන්න පුළුවන් ක්‍රම දෙකක් තියෙනවා. We have two methods to measure financial asset. What are two methods?
Measuring with to the whole
They get you.
measuring with the
This HDBA to total.
whole to the boundary machine.
Hold to collect and hold and sell. What's the question?
So how do you measure it? See, they are to OCI.
Fair value through P&L, fair value through OCI. Amortized cost. Amortized cost, right? So once you are recognizing shares or whatever the financial asset, we have two methods, right? Two methods. Measure financial asset or financial liability. We have two methods. What are they? Fair value or amortized cost. Fair value or amortized cost. Keep remember that. Fair value or amortized cost. Right? Fair value or amortized cost. Fair value or amortized cost. Amortized cost. Fair value can be divided into two. What are they? Fair value through P&L, fair value through OCI, right? Fair value through P&L, fair value through OCI. Then financial instrument measurement basis you are having three. What are they? Fair value through P&L, fair value through OCI, amortized cost, right? Based on the measurement method, financial asset can be divided into three categories. What are they? Financial asset measured at amortized cost. Financial asset measured at fair value through OCI. Financial asset measured at fair value through P&L. Are you okay? That is the three classifications based on the measurement method of financial asset. Right? Then we see what are the, based on these things, how we can put these three categories here. Three categories here. Vamos a P&L, OCI, fair value parameter. Fair value fair value we have another standard, what is that? Select bar is 13. How we are going to fair value? In detail it will discuss. Level 1, level 2, level 3. Link that, right? Once you are learning SFR is 13, you need to link with here. How we are going to do that? So the way we are doing fair valuation will be discussed on the SFR is 13. Right? Once you are doing fair valuation, you need to get the fair value. Maybe from the market, maybe from the valuation model, maybe from the calculation. Different methods are there. You need to get the fair value. Once you are having a fair value, you have a book value. The difference between the book value and the fair value, you have a gain or loss. right? Book value and the fair value. Difference we consider as a gain or loss. That gain or loss where you are going for. Whether P&L or OCI. Whether P&L or OCI. P&L or OCI that is getting P&L එක OCI එක පිට කලින් කියලා දුන්නා. කියලා දුන්නද? කියලා දුන්නා. We have P&L and the OCI. මම ගිය සතියේ දුන්න වැඩකුත් කරන් එන්න කියලා. මොකක් හරි මතකද එහෙම එකක් කිව්වා. ගිය සතියේ උඩින් සතියේ නේ. මොකක් හරි කිව්වා කියලා මතකද? ඒක මතකයක්. දැන් සර්ට මතකුණාට මතකද ගත්තේ? එහෙම ගියා කිව්වොත් මොකක් හරි. මේක හෝම්වර්ක් බලන් එන්න කියලා. එහෙම කාටහරි මතක තියෙනවා නම් කියන බල පොඩක් මට සතුටක් දැනෙනවා එහෙම මතකයක් තියුණා. එහෙම දෙයක් බලන් එන්න කිව්වාත් එහෙම මතක තියෙනවා නන්නේ. කිව්වේ foreign operation එක local currency එකට convert කරාම pair එන conversion gain or loss එක OCI එකේ reclassified to P&L or not reclassified P&L මොකටද දාන්න කියලා බලන්න ඉන්න කියලා කිව්වා. ඉවද? වෙන ක්ලාස් එකක. නෑ ඔයාලට තමයි කිව්වේ. ඒ කිව්වත් මතක නැත්නම් ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක්. එහෙම කිව්වද මම? කිව්වේ නැද්ද? එහෙමත් මතක් කරගන්න අමාරු නා. ඔයානේ කිව්වනේ එහෙම එකක්. මම by heart උගන්වන්නේ. ඔයාට මෙහෙම කිව්වා කියලා මට තව අවුරුදු දෙකකිනුම් මතකයි. එහෙම කිව්වා කියලා. හැබැයි අද දැන් උදේ ආපු ගමන් මතක නැහැ. උදේ ආපු ගමන් මතක නැහැ. මෙතෙන්ට ආවට පස්සේ තමයි මතක් වෙන්නේ. ඒක තමයි හේතුව. මෙතෙන්ට මේ පොයින්ට් එකට OCI එකෙන් ක්ලාස් එකට ගියන්නේ මොකද? කියන්නේ මේක දුන්නා. ඒක තමයි ලීපේ. ඒක තමයි. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක by nature of the human, right? Once you are learning and once you are saving your things, once you are saving into your memory, you need to keep that in a very orderly manner. Otherwise, you can't get it out. ඒක තමයි වටේ. මම ගොඩාක් පාඩම් කරනවා ඇති මහන්සියෙන්. මම ගානට සේව් කරන්නේ ඒක දැන්. වා ආරක්ෂිතව තියෙනවා. වා ගිහිල්ලා ගන්නම බැරි තැනක තියුවොත් වාට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්ද පස්සේ ඒක? බෑ. වාගේ නිකන් think about your room, whatever the ornaments, whatever the things you are having, whatever the items you are using, instrument or all those things, if you are keeping it in a very orderly manner, you can get it very fast. සේරම එක පොඩේ අර draw එක වගේ නේද නේද? කෙනෙක්ගේ අර purse එක වගේ නේද? සේරම තියෙනවා ඒක ඇතුලේ. යාදී එකක් හොයාගන්න මාර අමාරුයි. නේද? එකක් හොයාගන්න මාර අමාරුයි. අපිට නම් මුකුත් නැහැ නේ. ඒක නිසා හොයාගන්න දෙයක්වත් නැහැ මුකුත් නැහැ. මොනවාද? එහෙම හොයාගන්න අමාරුයි. If you want to keep that in order. If you are keeping that in an orderly manner, you can get it in very fast. What I want to say is, if you are having very large content to remember, if you want to remember that, you need to save it in a order. Otherwise, you can't remember. For exam එකකට ගිහිල්ලා සේරම එකපාරට මතක් කරන්න ගත්තොත් කොහොමද? ඔයාලට කොහොමවත් මතක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයා සේරම corporate reporting subject එකම එකපාරට මතක් කරන්න ගන්න. නේද? biological asset mix වෙලා foreign exchange rate එක console mix වෙලා financial instruments එක එනකොට you can mix all these financial instruments with their biological asset. Don't do that, right? Step by step, you need to get that folder and open it. නේද? ඔයා computer එකේ එහෙමයි. ඒ folder එකට ගිහිල්ලා open කරලා ඒ folder එකට ගියාම තමයි තියෙන දැන හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම තමයි ඔයා හිතන්නේ. folder එකේ හිතන්න. example. ඔයාට ගෙදරින් එනකොට කියනවා අම්මා මේ බඩු ටිකක් ගේන්න කියලා හවසට. මොන හරි ලිස්ට් එකක් ගේන්න කියනවා. එහෙම කියන්නේ නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් සමහර ළමයින්ට. අම්මා හරක් ළමයින්ට කියනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් සමහර ළමයින්ට කියනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සම හරක් ළමයින්ට නොකියනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නේ අම්මලාත් දන්නෝ මේ ළමයින්ට කිව්වම දෙයක් කියන්න බෑ ඒ ළමයට කඩේකට ගිහිල්ලවත් බඩුවක් ගන්න තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. ඒක මොකද අම්මා කියන්නේ නැහැ. If you are in a decision making stage, so then parents are giving that freedom to you. Buy some stuff to home. So people who are in that stage, you can satisfy. Don't take that as a burden, right? Why? They have realized that you can do some task at least to go to a shop and get an item. You are in a different level there. Right? එහෙම කිව්වම ඔයාලට ලිස්ට් එකක් දෙන්න උදේ. ඔයාලට ලිස්ට් එකක් දුන්නම ඔයා කොහොමද ඒක මතක තියාගන්නේ? ඔයා ලිස්ට් එක අම්මට පුළුවන් ඉතින් ලිස්ට් එක ලියලා ෆොටෝ එකක් ගහලා එවන්න. එහෙම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කරනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් අම්ම ලිස්ට් එක තියාගෙන යනවා. ඔයා කොහොමද මතක තියාගන්නේ? How you are going to remember that? That will be very difficult, right? So mother telling that you want to buy some, some fruits, right? Some fruits. Then maybe she's asking to get some banana and maybe some other items, maybe pineapple or some other fruits, right? අම්ම කියනවා තව මොනවද? Vegetable ගේන්න කියනවා. Tomato and then plus some leaves and some other vegetable ගේන්න කියනවා, right? ඊට පස්සේ අම්ම කියනවා යා මේ අපි soap ගේන්න කියලා කියනවා. ඊට පස්සේ කියනවා newspaper එකක් ගේන්න කියලා කියනවා. Panadol ගේන්න කියලා කියනවා. Chicken ගේන්න කියලා කියනවා. coconut ගේන්න කියලා කියනවා. ලොකු ලිස්ට් එකක් කියලා තියෙනවා. දැන් battery ගේන්න කියලා තියෙනවා. What that local ලිස්ට් එකක් කියලා තියෙනවා. සේරම mix වෙනවා. battery එක, පලා එක, තව tomato එක, සේරම ice cream එක mix වෙලා තියෙන chicken නේ. ඔය සේරම මොකද කරන්නේ? ඔය ලිස්ට් එක මතක් කර කර එනවා. මතක් කර කර ඇවිල්ලා ලෙක්චර් එකේ ඉන්න ගමනොත් ඔය ලිස්ට් එක මතක් කර කර තමයි ඉන්නේ. ලිස්ට් එක මිස් වෙනවා. මාන ප්‍රශ්න ලිස්ට් එක මතක්. ඔය එක්සෑම් එකේ දෙන්නේ කොහොමද අවශ්‍ය? ඔය එක්සෑම් එකට එන්නේ කොහොම නේද? එක්සෑම් එකේ පේපර් එක හම්බෙන්න කලිනුත් අර දිග ලිස්ට් එක මතක් කර කර තමයි ඉන්නේ. නෑ නෑ. එතකොට මතක් කර කර ඉන්නේ පාඩම් කරපු දිග ලිස්ට් එක. නේද? එක්සෑම් පේපර් එක හම්බෙන්න කලිනුත් මේක කීක මතක් කර කර ඉන්නේ. එහෙම කරන්න එපා. Don't do that. Before the exam, don't try to memorize, recall your memory. You don't know what the paper is asking, right? Don't try to recall your memory. Why කරන ලොකු fault එකක්. chartered වගේ exam එක කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාට exam එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඔයා memory එකෙන් මේක මතකද බලනවා නම් ඔයා stress වෙලා තමයි fail exam එක fail. දරුවවත් නෙවෙයි පාඩම් නොකරලත් නෙවෙයි. ඔයා stress වෙලා exam එක fail. Don't do that. I'm giving an example, right? I'm giving examples. If you are doing like that, you can't recall your memory. What you have to do then? ඔයා මොකද්ද ඔයා ගොළුවට දාගන්නවා? ඔයාගේ මොළේ වැඩ කරන්නේ මොන විදියකටද? Your brain will work as a pyramid, right? As a pyramid. So what you have to do? ඔයා ගෙදරින් එනකොට මතක තියාගන්න මොකක්ද? ඔයා දීපු වර්ග ටික ඔයා කොටස් කීයකට බෙදා ගන්නවා? You are divided into 4 classes. Maybe vegetable, fruits, some medicine related items, maybe Panadol and Samahan, medicine related item, and cosmetics item. All this, what you call this shampoo, and then this washing powder, and then soap and all cosmetics. Now we have 4 items. What are they? Vegetable, this fruits, and then cosmetics items, and then some other items, right? 4 items, medicine. Then hatarak තියෙනවා. What hatarak මතක තියාගන්න පුළුවන්? Can manage, right? අර list එක කලින් කියපු list එක අමතක වුණා මේ හතර මතකයි. Can manage. ඔයාට මේ දිග list එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයාට මේ දිග list එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයාට මේ දිග list එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ ලිස්ට් එකට මතක තියාගන්න අමාරුයි. ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මතක තියාගන්න මොනවද? Fruit, vegetable and cosmetics and medicine. You can easily remember. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාලට මේ හතරත් මතක තියාගන්න අමාරුයි. ඔයාලට මේ හතර මතක් කර කර ඉන්න ඕනේ නැහැ මේ එකේ. මොකද ක්ලාස් රූම් එකේ. මේ හතර මතක් කර කර ඉන්න ඕනේ. ලෙසන් එක අහගන්න නැතුව. ඔයාලට මොකද කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ හතර. මේ හතරත් අමතක කරලා ඔයාලට මතක තියාගන්න කීල්ස් විතරක්. කීල්ස් එක විතරක් මතක තියාගන්න. කීල්දෝ, ස්පාවෝ, whatever the arbigo or cargills, right? Points එක මතක තියාගන්න. So ඔයාලට මොකද්ද මතක? කීල්ස් එක විතරයි. ඔයා item එක දාගෙන තියෙන අමතක වෙනකොට මොකද්ද? කීල්ස් එකට යන්න තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් ඔයාලට කීල්ස් එක විතරක් කීල්ස් එක විතරක් දාගන්න නැතුව කීල්ස් එක maybe meat shop එකක්. කීල්ස් එකේ සාමාන්‍ය meat මේව ගන්නෑ. ඔයා ගන්න අර මොනවද ඒවට කියන්නේ? meat shop එකක්. Maybe Sella or some other meat shop, right? Meat shop එකක්. Kiehl's and meat shop. ඒතකොට ඔයා මෙතන තියාගන්න මොකද්ද? මෙතන තියාගන්න ඕනද? අම්මව මතක තියාගන්න. අම්මව මතක තියාගන්න. මොකද අම්මා මොනවා හරි කිව්වා කියන එක එන්න ඕනවලු. ඒක නැතුව මොකද වෙන්නේ වාට? ඒක නැතුව තමයි මොකද වෙන්නේ? කීල්ස්ලි මීට් ෂොප් එකයි අමතක වෙලා. මේ වර්ග හතරක් අමතක කරලා. මේ ලිස්ට් එකත් අමතක වුණොත් ඔයා ගෙදර යනකොට ඩිසාස්ටර් එකක්. ඔයාට දැන් හරි ලේසි. ඔයාට මතක තියාගන්න ටෙස්ට් එක කියනකොට. ඔයා මතක තියන්නේ අම්මා මොකක් හරි කිව්වා. කියන එක විතරයි මතක තියාගන්න. right? ඒක තියලා පැත්තකින් ඉන්න. You want to have that fact only on your head, right? Then after the lecture, definitely that will easily remember. You want to go to Kiehl's and Hitcho, right? Or Kiehl's එකට යන ගමන් හිතීත යන්න ඕනේ මොනවද ගන්න කියන්නේ. or Kiehl's එකට ගිහිල්ලා fruit side එකට ගියාට පස්සේ ඔයාලට මතක් වෙන මොනවද? Pineapple and banana. Go to that folder and get the exact item, right? Once you are going to, you know that 4 items, right? Once you are going to medicine, you know that Panadol and Samahan. Once you are going to what you call vegetable, you know that tomato and maybe some other fruits, some other vegetables. You can recall the exact item once you are going to that folder. That is the way you need to learn subjects. So go to the financial instrument debt bucket and go to the hold to collect category. Then and there you can identify what is the measurement basis. That's what I want to highlight here, right? I just want to highlight the way you need to practice your the learning, right? Learning and the process of recalling in your exam. So the exam එකට එන්න කලින් මේ සේරම මතක් කර කර ආවොත් full best friend. Don't do that. Once you are having a question, go to the exact folder, open it and get the answer and write it. Right. It's the additional thing I want to highlight, right? Here we are discussing financial instrument categories, right? Financial instrument categories. Financial instrument categories. We are having financial asset. Here we have derivatives, equity, and debt. Right? Debt, derivatives, and equity. No doubt. This is fair value. This is fair value. Equity, no doubt. This is fair value. Right? Debt, we have 3 categories. What are they? Hold to, collect, hold and collect, Sell. Right. Hold to collect, hold and collect, sell. This is fair value. This is fair value. Right? This is fair value. This is amortized cost. This is amortized cost. You can easily understand all other methods. You can see similarity. Fair value. Generally, this is amortized cost. Amortized cost. You can understand now. You are having two methods, amortized cost and fair value. Amortized cost will be used only for debt instrument, hold to collect, hold to collect. Other whatever instrument you are using, fair value method. Fair value, doubt is whether OCI or PNL. OCI or PNL. Right? Whatever the instrument in this category is fair value. Right? Fair value. Amortized cost. Amortized cost. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? Amortized cost. Cost. We amortize. Right? So we are not going to do the valuation. Whatever the incurred cost will be amortized. Right? Amortized cost. It is not the cost. Whatever the cost plus whatever the other related cost will be amortized. Amortized cost we are get. To amortized cost, what we need to calculate? EIR. EIR. දැන් එක වචනයක් තේරුම් ගන්න ගිහිල්ලා තව දන්නේ නැති වචනයක්. Amortized cost also we don't know. To calculate amortized cost, we want EIR. EIR also we don't know. What is that? Effective interest rate. Effective interest rate. Effective interest rate. To recalculate. Once you are calculating effective interest rate, calculate the effective interest rate to the cash flow projection, and by using effective interest rate, recognize the revenue. And whatever the accrued revenue should be added to the capital, be added to the cost. That is called amortized cost. Right? That's called amortized cost. Whatever the incurred cost, already there cost. Once you are purchasing an instrument, once you are purchasing FD, what's the double entry? Cash credit, debit to the PNL. No, debit to the investment account. That's a cost, right? How we are going to recognize them as FD at the year end? Is that the purchase value? No. We need to accrue the interest and add to the FD. Once you accrue in interest, use the EIR, effective interest rate. Don't use the what is other interest rate, nominal rate. Don't use nominal rate. You have to use effective interest rate. What is the difference between nominal rate and effective interest rate? That same. That same. Sometimes it will be same. Most of the cases it will vary. Effective interest versus nominal interest rate. The interest rate given in the instrument, the face of the instrument, we call as nominal interest rate, right? EIR, effective interest rate, it will be different, right? Are you getting me? What is the nominal rate එක effective interest rate එකයි. D එක දානකොට නේද? මට කියනවා මේකක් හම්බෙනවා. මොකද? බයිසිකලයක් හම්බෙනවා. නිසා තමයි FD එක දාන්නේ. ඒක කියනවා නේද? If you are putting FD maybe 5 million FD for maybe 5 years, you are getting a gift, a mounted bicycle. right? Mountain bicycle. So for girls, you are having a maybe what's the gift? Boarding gift. Doll කෙනෙක් දෙනවා. කෑන් ළමයින්ට doll කෙනෙක් දෙනවා. පොඩි ළමයින්ට bicycle එකක්. ඒක නිසා වගේ what you are going to do? You are putting in a FD. Question is, it is very simple. It's very interesting, right, to hear. Once you are putting FD, you are getting a gift of the bicycle. As an accountant, you can't get that happiness. Why? You need to account that. What a free bicycle you have compared. The free how many How we are going to count this bicycle? How we are going to count this bicycle? Now you are putting cash to the FD, cash credit, debit to the FD account. You receiving a bicycle. You receiving a bicycle. Then what you are going to do? How are you going to count this bicycle? Yeah, as accountant, we need to account that, right? It's a benefit to the organization. All the benefit should be recorded as accountants. How are we going to record this bicycle? Are we going to record bicycle account debit? Obviously, PPE account debit. We are going to credit. We are going to credit. Credit card part. Bicycle account debit. ඒක තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් වයින් වෙන ක්ලාස් එක. Bicycle එක හම්බුනාම bicycle account එක debit. It's obvious, right? Question is, we are going to credit cash නැහැ. We are going to credit. Suggestion එකක් දෙන්න බලන්න. Where are you going to credit? Other income? Other income දාන්න. කොහොමද දාන්නේ? නිකන් හම්බුන bicycle. What can put on donation හම්බුණා කියලා. Other income දාන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. Are you agree with me? Yes. Donation received. But නිකන් හම්බුණා කියලා income එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්. Is that reasonable? Getting that income to this current year? Not reasonable, right? Why? You put this FD for next 5 years. You need to split that FD income for next 5 years. Are you getting me? ඒක පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ income එක දාගන්න එක හරියද? නෑ. So we put this FD for next 5 years. What we have to do? This gift should be split for next 5 years. Then what we have to do? Are you going to use simple average? It is incorrect. Why? Simple average can never. What you have to do? You have to embed. You have to embed to normal rate. That whatever the gift amount, normal rate you are 10% to the FD. You need to add the bicycle value to this nominal rate. The bicycle, if you are adding that bicycle benefit to the nominal rate, that will be 10.5. This is the effective interest rate. Because of FD, effectively, what is the earning percentage? අපේ මේ FD එක නිසා කොච්චර earn කරනවද? Earning දෙකක් තියෙනවා. Bicycle එක earning එක, interest එක earning එක. So we add all benefit to one particular rate. That is called effective interest rate. That is called effective interest rate. Right? That is not the nominal rate. You need to calculate effective interest rate of that cash flow projection. Then and there, you need to accrue the interest and recognize the accrued interest income to the investment, and that is called amortized cost. That is called amortized cost. That is called amortized cost, right? I hope it is clear. I discussed a lot about financial instrument. Then financial instrument කතා කරන එක නවත්තනවා. ඇයි තව ටිකක් එහාට කතා කරොත් full blank වෙලා ගිහිල්ලා නේද? රැට බය වෙන්නත් ඉඩ තියෙනවා. Right? Okay? I hope it is clear. To this extent, we discussed very straightforward topics, right? Very straightforward topics. Financial instruments divided into two. ඔයාලා මේ ටික අමතක කරනවා ඔයාලට ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. Financial instrument divided into two. Financial asset, financial liabilities. Financial asset we had three categories based on the nature: debt, equity, derivatives. We had a list of financial instruments. To identify the measurement basis, the recognition, we wanted to have a evaluation. For that, we did two tests: SPPI test and the business model test. SPPI test, obviously, shares and derivatives getting failed because we can't determine the future cash flows, right? Then we perform that test only for debt instrument. According to that cash flows, we classify that into hold to collect, hold and collect, and sell. Accordingly, we decided what is the measurement basis. Measurement basis, we had two: fair value and amortized cost. Right? Fair value divided into fair value through P&L, fair value through OCI. Fair value through P&L, OCI, we didn't discuss yet. We don't know fair value here. What are the data here? Right? So we discuss what are the instruments we have to use. Amortized cost. That is the only instrument that's under debt. Business model test. Hold to collect, hold to maturity, in other words. Those instruments we have to use amortized cost. Right? Amortized cost. Once you are going to your slide deck, right? You have this classification, right? Now you can read this. Financial asset, you have debt, derivatives, and equity. You are doing first test. What is that? Contractual cash flow characteristic test. That should be done at the instrumental level, right? So that will be pass, fail, fail, fail. Once you are getting pass, we are doing business model test. Business model test, we have three scenarios: 1, 2, and 3. Once you are doing cash flow, this business model test, you are ending with here amortized cost. Right, amortized cost. And these three buckets. These are always fair value, fair value, fair value. Fair value through P&L. What made one? Derivative getting the fair value through P&L. Doubt. Derivatives fair value through P&L. Fair value through OCI, here we have something. Here we have something. Once we are dealing with debt instrument with recycling, here no recycling. That's the difference. No recycling with recycling. These will be discussed next week, right? So the other to that, basic things you need to be familiar. Don't we discuss about this derivatives, hedge accounting, all this hedge effectiveness. Don't worry about all these things, but the basic things you should keep remember that, right? Okay, so have a break and come back 5:50. Right? We are starting consolidation. That's very critical. And consolidation is really critical. We are starting console at 5:50. Right. Like to I can't understand what you are asking and I understand. That type of things. I can feel that in type of like question and answer. So scenario will be happening in virtual. No, I can't make it. So here, yes, all this. They can make it
මේවා හදිසිය යෝනේ.
Iya, tinggal ini pengen. Ini terus kita mau. Oh, mana asal saja.
පාටි හම්බෙලා ඔව් දැන් මතක සල්ලි නැහැ.
I'll start. Right, we are going to start consolidation, right? Shall we start? The people who are joining virtually, Sanjali, shall we start? Many people in the audience. Village, Akil, Prashant, are they joining fully remotely, right? Maybe in other from other countries, so people, you all can join virtually here. But is there any arrangement like that? People who are joining virtually is a fixed arrangement or? Don't know. Do you know who are they? No. Okay. Right, okay. You want to join virtually, say? Yes. Don't know. You are trying. In the virtual join in can do. I don't know which time. Yeah, so I did virtual this hybrid class for advanced auditing. Normally I did maybe 3 years back advanced auditing here. Now I'm doing corporate reporting. Yeah, corporate reporting, I think this is the no, I did a one hybrid batch. Maybe because of exemption batch, right? And then people can join virtually, right? All good. So we are going to discuss consolidation. Many people are not here. Okay. So I decided to start consolidation quickly because the length of it, right? It is we have given more than 30% average weightage for this area consolidation. It's a large topic, and we supposed to have it's a complex area, but it is not. We can easily learn this area, right? So I will tell you how we are going to manage this area, right? consolidation from zero knowledge to maybe to complex consolidation. We are planning to do this, right? We are planning to learn this today. And as accountant, consolidation is a must topic, the compulsory topic we should learn. There's no option. You can't say that. This is very complicated. Consolidation, not familiar to me. I don't want to study that. You can't say that, right? So consolidation should be with you. If you know, maybe preparing financial statement for an individual company, you need to have an understanding to how it can be consolidated. How you can merge number of companies to one particular set of accounts, right? So that's the basic understanding we should have.
එළවලු මොළේ අරගෙන එවෙන්නේ යනවාට මොහරි අරන් දෙන්න.
Same example we took.
නෑ මොකද
That's why I told you all. No need to memorize that in the classroom. Right? You are memorizing, but you need to purchase from the kiosk. That will be happen. So you need to just keep that. You're supposed to go to the kiosk. That's it. And then and there, after going to the kiosk, go to the stall, this fruit stall or vegetable stall, and then you can remember what's the request from your mom. No need to memorize it in the class. I think you got it right. Right, okay. No worries. So those are the challenges in virtual MR. Okay. Right, that's okay. So we are supposed to learn this consolidation, right? It's a lengthy topic. Today we want to kick off this topic. Otherwise, we want to learn throughout the course this topic. Otherwise, you will be panic at the last moment. You feel like we learned this consolidation at the last moment. Because of that, I am not happy. I don't want to get that comment, right? That's why I'm starting this as early as possible, consolidation. Then you are familiar with that. Consolidation is step by step. It's like a fish from maybe changing that water. You know that step by step we need to practice, right? So that's how we need to do that. So likewise, you are in zero knowledge of consolidation. I want to change this to a expert knowledge. Expert knowledge means, but you should have that basic knowledge from financial reporting subject, right? You had some consolidation to some extent, right? On the financial reporting. You put in the console. Console the console up the consolidation technical, you should have answer. But here you are going in depth and you need to make it capitalize to a different extent, different level, right? I'm not telling that we are covering 100% here, right? I'm trying to make it whatever the maximum possible complexities, right? Some other complexities maybe they are after completing the consolidation. So I will guarantee you, if you are ready, this is the last time you are learning consolidation, right? This is the last time. This may be the first time. I want to make it the last time. So that's the expectation. For that, definitely your commitment should be there. You need to work hard. You need to understand. You need to work within the classroom. ගණන් හදන්න රෙඩි වෙලා එන්න. දැන් අර මම කිව්වේ සමහර ළමයි ඉන්නවා මම අපුරක්වත් ලෙක්චර් එකේ ලියන්නේ නැහැ කියලා හිතාගෙනම තමයි ටිම්ස් එක පටන් අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. ඒකට ඒ ළමයිතු කොන්සෝල් එකේ ගණන් හදන්න. කොන්සෝල් ගණන් හදන්න නැතුව මේක කරන්න බෑ. කොන්සෝල් ලැප් එකේ ටැබ් එකේ හදන්න බෑ. අතින් හදන්න ඕන කොන්සෝල් හොඳ. That's a must because we can't use the tab for exam. I'm not getting wrong. I'm giving this address, right? I think අතින් හදන්න තුවාන අන්තිමට රූල් කරගන්න බෑ console. Console හොඳටම දන්නෝ. In the exam, you can't manage the numbers within the paper. Paper එකේ console එක rule කරගන්න බෑ. කොච්චර console දැනගෙන හිටියද වැඩක් නෑ. If you can't rule that console question in your paper. You need to manage to that extent, right? So you know that once you are doing partnership account, once you are doing this partnership account, you should have a format, right? You need to familiar with that aspect as well. All this format and the logic and the understanding, standard definitions, guideline, everything should be a presentation in the exam. Then and there, your fullest commitment should be there for consolidation. That's my kind, humble request for you all. Be focused, be attention, and continue your attendance for next maybe 3 lectures, right? 3, maybe maximum 4. That's the expectation, right? I hope that you can continue. Okay, right? Today we are done starting this consolidation. Right, consolidation. Under this, we are learning acquisitions, disposals, step acquisition, step disposal, foreign subsidiaries, sub-subsidiaries, right? This is the whole consolidation syllabus, right? Whole syllabus. You need to learn about acquisition. You need to learn about consolidation at acquisition. Consolidation at a disposal. Consolidation at a step disposal, right? And step acquisition, foreign subsidiary and sub-subsidiary. You may have one question for all these things. If it is a one question, that is the day what toil that unready done. Wow, pain vela is 119 again. Suicide again. Make a game hospital exam. Incident in a if you have all these in a one question, right? But in a real world, once you are doing a real consolidation working, many scenarios will be happening in one particular year. If you are the person who are doing consolidation for maybe Haley's, maybe JKH, maybe for LOLC, all these things, not only this, some transaction we also can't understand, right? We can't understand. So all the things happen within a year. How can you do that in a that in one financial year, it may be more than 150, 170 companies, right? It's a type of a consolidation. What විනාඩි 15ක් විතර යනවා Excel එකේ මේ පැත්තට company ටික scroll කරන්න. එච්චර ලොකුයි consolidation. Right? So we are selling that it is console mat. It's a console mat. We are having these narrations here. We need to Excel. We are going to freeze that, right? So there's no freeze option in Excel. You can freeze the column, right? Column and the heading. You have to scroll to this side. Scroll karanna 5 minutes either. When more than 10 minutes, yeah. So the extent, number of companies you can assume, right? Once you are doing this kind of activity, all the things can be happen within a year. They are doing different transactions. Maybe acquisition, step acquisition in a foreign subsidiary. Common. Step acquisition in a foreign subsidiary. Within the foreign subsidiary acquisition, your exchange rate can be changed within the year. How can you treat that? Right? So likewise, it is a complex scenario you are going to learn. But if you can put in a very orderly manner, you can learn the logic, right? You can come up with solution. You can think about the situation and you can suggest the solution, right? So tomorrow, the situation, transaction may be very new. Sometimes we also don't have answer. So we are reaching out to the institute. And institute also don't have answer sometimes. They will reach out to the standard accounting standard board, international boards, right? Sometimes there may be some scenario like that to get the explanation. So if you are having basic understanding, you can ask that question. You can understand that question, right? To that extent, this is a complex topic, but don't get afraid. If you are getting this as a step by step, you can get 100 marks for this question. There's no gray color answer. This is a black and white answer. Black and white answers are there. It means if you can do it correctly, you can earn 100 marks. That's the beauty of this. Right? If you can learn the art of consolidation, you are getting a plus. You are not ending with the A, right? It is A plus. You have to learn this art, right? That's about consolidation. So we discuss one by one. Acquisition, disposal. Before that, we want to know about what do you mean by a consolidation. That's the basic understanding you should have before starting this. What do you mean by consolidation? Any idea? Because you have already done this understanding, you already completed this financial reporting basic aspects. What do you think about consolidation? What do you mean by that? It's a counting method, right? What are the consolidation? Consolidation can you Sorry? Compiling financial statement. Yes. Then one entity. Correct. Compiling, the aggregating, accumulating. Basically, the purpose is the entities want to have the overall picture of the overall entities, the group wide, right? So we can take different decisions, right? 2 weeks back, we learned this segmental reporting, right? Segmental reporting, we learned not only the entity, within the entity, small segment, we want to get the idea to take decision. That is functional, the micro decisions, right? So that is a type of decision. That's called maybe microeconomics is there, right? But macroeconomic is there. Why? The country level decisions will be taken based on the macroeconomic factors. Likewise, decisions will be taken by the stakeholders for overall perspective of the group perspective, group assets, group profitability, group maybe liability, group earning per share, group contingent liability. So they want to take decisions based on the overall perspective, group perspective. It's a combination of affiliates, right? It means subsidiaries or maybe associate, joint ventures, maybe different parties, different parts of the group will be accumulated to one single entity. That is called a consolidated financial statement, right? Why we are preparing that? To take overall decisions, the group level decisions, right? You are correct. It is a task to compiling single financial statement to a one particular set of financial statement as a group, right? So that we need to think about why we need to do that. What is the logic behind that? Once you are doing that activity, what are the steps we need to follow? What is the thinking process we need to follow? Once we are changing this one entity concept to a group concept, we need to, it is a thought process, right? We need to change all these, policies sometime. Your transaction should be eliminated. The single entity concept should be changed to group concept, right? As a group, one single entity with the other company, if you are having transaction, you need to eliminate that. That's called group concept. As a group, if you are having individual transaction is a subsidiary, that may not be a transaction as a group. So all these things should be understand. Which point you are going to do consolidation? That's another question. Coming back to the thing I discussed, once you are doing consolidation, if you are having transaction within the organization, in between the entities, once you are having one particular single group, that the small transaction may not be considered. So that is the overall picture behind this. First, we need to understand when we are supposed to do consolidation, at which point we should start consolidation. So that is the answer. At the point you are getting the control, at the point you are acquiring the control, that is the point you should start your consolidation. The question is, which point you are going to do this? Which point you are going to do this? When you are starting consolidation? Question. When? The date you are getting the control. The date you are getting the control, you should start consolidation. You have to establish control to do the consolidation. Before you are doing the consolidation, you need to establish the control. Otherwise, you can't consolidate. Consolidate means a simple sentence, simple word. It's accumulate, it's compiled, accumulating, adding, or maybe collating, right? So line by line addition, right? So simple, right? What no? Now what company set the company? It's a group company. There's a parent. There may be subsidiaries. That subsidiary may have other subsidiaries. That subsidiary we call as sub-subsidiaries, right? This sub-subsidiary, this is the ultimate parent. This will be the immediate parent, right? This will be the immediate parent. This will be the ultimate parent, right? Once you are having this type of a setup, consolidation is a simple task. What we are going to do is compiling. We are having, maybe you can forget it out, this sub-subsidiaries. We are having parent A, 4 subsidiaries, B, C, D, E. What you are going to do? Total asset A, B, C, D. A के total asset 10, B के total asset 20, C के total asset 5, D के total asset maybe 50. What do you mean by consolidation? Compiling that console. What is that? 50. Right? 50. This is consolidation. Very easy, no? Is that complicated? By putting 100 companies, formula එක දාලා උඩට දීලා මෙතන පොඩි dot එකක් අතන double click කරාම යට තමයි බැලුවේ. පත් දෙකක් පාස් Right. Okay. So simple, right? Putting all the companies. Make a 1 plus. Excel make a plus equal 50. Method මොකද කරන්නේ? Sum එක දාලා serum total assets serum දාලා මොකද? First එක දිහා double click කරාම console එක හදලා ඔපල්. ඒක හරි නේද? ඔයාගේ individual companies වල total asset equal total liabilities. Individual company. ඔයා මේ පැත්තට add කරාම total asset equal total liabilities. Console එකකට element. While individual companies total asset equal total liabilities. If you are adding to this side, ending with the console column, total asset equal total liabilities. No worries, it will tally. Right. But the thought process may be similar, but there's another column here. What is the column? Here we have another column. Before we are getting this column, main column again the Kali. There's another column called what is that? What is this column? Before this column, before this answer, you have another column. What is that? It is called adjustments, right? Adjustments. This is the difficult part, right? Adjustments. In the make a nothing but what console here again. Adjustments. Before you are adding to this column, someone console එක හදන්න කිව්වම මොකද කරන්නේ? 35 marks given in the question paper. Parent company, 2 subsidiaries, they will get the three trial this balance sheet and adding together and prepare the console. Maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 1 mark. Out of 35. What they are doing? They are putting this like this and adding to the last column. That's it. No adjustment column. All 34 marks will be given for this adjustment column. Right? All 34 marks will be given for this adjustment column. Don't waste your time, right? For 1 mark. ඒක දෙන්නේ මොකදවා console අර topic එක දැම්ම නිසා consolidated financial statement එහෙම දාපු නිසා තමයි එක මාක් එකක් දෙන්න දුක. Right? Otherwise all 34 marks will be awarded to this column. What is that? Consolidated adjustments. Right? Consolidated adjustments. Keep remember that. Then throughout this period we are learning how we are going to manage it. Consolidated adjustment, right? Consolidated adjustments. Okay, consolidated adjustments will be classified into two. Classified into two. Standard level. This is my practice, my advice, right? This can be divided into two. What are they? Adjustment. Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. All these adjustments can be divided into two. What are they? Pre-acquisition adjustments, post-acquisition adjustments. Right? Pre-acquisition, post-acquisition. Make a count count-wise. Pre-acquisition or post-acquisition? It is post-acquisition. pre-acquisition එකක් දෙකක් තමයි adjustment තියෙන්නේ. එකක් දෙකක් තමයි adjustment තියෙන්නේ. Right? Pre-acquisition, post-acquisition. Okay. Post-acquisition will be many adjustments. Right? So then, once you are coming to your paper, console question paper, you are having maybe more than 10 adjustments, right? More than 10 adjustments you can classify into these two: pre-acquisition adjustment, post-acquisition adjustment. You need to understand what is the type of adjustment the examiner requested. Is that a pre-acquisition or post-acquisition? What is that? In other words, the date you acquire, the date you establish control. The date you establish control, that is the date you acquired, right? Acquisition date. Before that and after that, pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. Then pre-post based on what? The acquisition date, pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. The date you acquired, whatever the adjustment we have to do, pre-period and the post-period. Right? If remember, adjustment can be divided into pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. Right? You need to have a proper understanding, right? So you know that we have several companies. The barrier is adjustment. These adjustments can be divided into two, pre and post. Okay. Then in the exam, your acquisition, then you need to understand pre-acquisition period and the post-acquisition period. Simple, right? The adjustment relevant to pre-acquisition period, pre-acquisition related adjustment, post-acquisition adjustment, right? Then you need to understand what is the period we are dealing with. Pre-post. What is the date you acquired? Post, right? In the exam, it's going. It will be vary. Acquisition date will be vary, right? Examiner having a luxury to test different types, right? Once you are having a question in the exam, you are normally having a financial year. Let's say 2025. 2025 year, you know that January, let's say this is a year end is December, right? 31st December. 2025 year, start date is this, end date is this. We are having 12 months. Examiner have different scenarios that acquisition can be happen in the exam. Examiner having different scenarios can be tested. Examiner the chance එක තියෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ point එක එක තැන දෙන්න. Acquisition point. Once you are considering all the possibilities, I can classify into 4 possible points, four possible natures. What are they? Examiner can test, examiner can give this acquisition date. In other words, the date you acquire the controlling power over the entity, right? In other words, the date you are acquiring more than 50% of that particular entity. It doesn't mean that having more than 50% you are getting the control, right? It is just a number. If you are having maybe 10%, you may have a control, right? If you have a 10%, sometimes you may have the control. Why? You may be the major shareholder, right? Other old shareholders, maybe 90 shareholders have only 1%. If you are having 10%, you are the parent entity, right? Don't take the percentage as the ownership. It's just a number it can indicate. Okay, it's another story. I'm here want to highlight that the date you are acquiring, the date you are doing your acquisition, when you are going to do the acquisition, examiner can test in different scenarios. That scenarios can be divided into 4 scenarios. It's very important, right? What are 4 scenarios? Examiner can test. Examiner can test the acquisition happened at the first date of the year. First date of the year. First scenario. Right? An examiner can give end date of the year. Right? And then again examiner can test mid of the year. Third. Not only that, examiner can give before the year. Before the year. The acquisition can be happened first date of the year, mid of the year, end of the year, or before the year. These are the 4 possible scenarios can be tested by the examiner. So exam එකේ මේ හතරෙන් එකක් තමයි අනිවාර්යෙන් ටෙස්ට් කරන්නේ. මේ හතරක් සිම්ප්ලිෆයි කරොත්. මේ හතරක් සිම්ප්ලිෆයි කරොත්. ඔයා මේ හතර දීලා මේ හතරම දීලා. ඔයා මොකක්ද වඩාත් කැමති කියලා આવොත් එක්සෑම් එකේ. ඔයා මොකක්ද වඩාත් කැමති කියලා. එහෙම තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ නේ. Behave pre-acquisition adjustments, post-acquisition adjustment. I said you previous screen. Normally, post-acquisition adjustments, high number of adjustments. Pre-acquisition maybe maximum 2. Here maybe maximum 10 adjustments. Right? Post-acquisition 10, pre-acquisition 2. Then ඔයා කැමති මොකක් ආවොත් exam එකේ. ඔයා සතුටු වෙලා නේද? Celebrate කරනවා මෙතන මොන adjust මොන scenario එක ආවොත්ද? නේද? ඔයා යාළුවට එක්ක කතා කරන්න බෑ. ඊළ මේ මොනවාද? පිට එකක් දාලා නේද? යාළුවට තරු දෙයි කිනාවක් දාලා එන්න පුළුවන් නේද? මොකක් ආවද? මට තරු පේන්නේ නැහැ මම සතුටුයි. ඒවා සෙලිබ්‍රේට් කරනවා. මම දන්නේම නැත්නම් hina වෙනවා පේපර් එකත් එක්ක නේද? මම නැගිටලා වාඩි වෙනවා පේපර් එක ලියන ගමන්. සතුටුයි. Examiner tested at the year end. Why? At the year end, you can see that post acquisition there's no adjustment. 0, 10 adjustment, only 2 adjustments. Are you getting me? Post acquisition adjustment nahi. At the year end, there's no any section. You acquired at the year end. Examiner can't give any adjustment. Right? If you are getting like this, you will be not surprised. You will be delighted. You will be very happy. Right? Okay. Then, if you are getting like this, you will be, what you call that? It's like a moderate happiness, right? First day, very clear that whatever the impact for the full year, whatever the adjustments you are having, post-acquisition adjustment impact for the full year. No worry about the dates and all. So all the impact for the full year. Very straightforward. Before the year, all are pre-acquisition. Other things for the 12 months. That will be modeling, right? How about here? Put a owl, can manage. We need to identify another date with this side, right? Before that, pre-acquisition, all this period, post-acquisition. Post-acquisition period, here we have a period which got impact to the financial year. This impact should be adjusted to the equity, maybe return earnings, maybe some other things. You need to, whatever the adjustments you do have, maybe impact, maybe, let's say, 14 impact. Here we have 2 months. Here we have 2 months. So how we are going to allocate these 2 months and another 12 months? This out of 14, 2 should be added to the equity, 12 should be added to the CAPNS. You need to split that, right? That can be managed. That's all right. Okay. Once you are having this type of a scenario, again, our vehicle like for example, the acquisition happened during the period. Acquisition happened during the period. Then what will happen? During the period means your pre-acquisition period is this, post-acquisition period is this. Whatever the adjustments you are getting in the this adjustment list, there will be a 2 impact. One part will impact to the pre-adjustment period, and other 6-month part will be impact to the remaining period. So getting, the divide that may be complicated. Whatever the impact, you need to understand for the first 6 months and the next 6 months, and calculate the first 6 months, and that should be considered for goodwill calculation, pre-acquisition adjustment, right? This will be complicated. So I don't want to waste your time for this complicated scenario, because it will take much time. I want to test some more things from you all at the exam. I have fair value, I have segmental, I have earning per share, I have foreign currency. I don't waste your time for this scenario. I don't want to make you in this trouble, right? I don't want to give a, if at the exam, this scenario, so that these 2 scenarios won't be tested, right? So then you have a probability of having the question by using these 2 scenarios. Your acquisition may be happen at the first date of the year, or maybe some date before the year, right? Those are the 2 scenarios can be tested in the exam, whatever the exam, ACC, ACMA, whatever the exam, right? Identify that date, pre-acquisition adjustment and post-acquisition adjustment, right? 6-5. You pass those pieces time. What you are going to do. So for today, that's it, right? So we discussed about basic stuff. We want to discuss what's the control. Here we discuss just about the consolidation. How we are going to start. From next day onwards, we are planning to discuss consolidation in detail to the brain, to the heart. Right? So that's about it. So we'll meet up in next week. Here we have attendance.